Howdy.
Hello,
Hello,
hello, hello.
Howdy,
hello,
howdy.
hello, and good ado. Greetings, saints. Greetings.
Greetings.
What's up?
Good
How
day,
y'all doing?
this Sunday here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Shauna, just be careful. Be careful. Don't laugh too hard.
I am like, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Isn't that how it goes? No. Yes? Yes.
All
What
on the
did
same.
Tiana say? Tiana said we're almost there.
Oh, okay.
Ah. So we're here, guys. The first couple
Mm-hmm.
chapters.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Woo! And it's a doozy.
Yeah.
As you drop your song, this song that this book mom drop is, I'm on the rough side of the mountain.
That,
But
true.
I kind of feel it for this community because it seems like they have
Look here.
two or three of everything in this little
Who them
community.
trouble?
Yeah, man.
We didn't go on the land there beforehand. What was going on
Listen.
onto that land, into that community? Because
Was
Mm.
there a paragraph or a thing that spoke about it before, or no? We just kind of came on to it being like this.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Because he actually starts the book at the end. He
Right.
starts the story
yeah,
at the end, and you're like,
Mm.
what the hell? What
yeah.
was the
Oh, you see,
intent of this
Antonio,
quote that
that's
I
why
was
you're
talking
here.
about?
I hadn't figured that out. The book starts at
I
the end. I didn't realize that.
I
Okay.
had to go back for a refresher.
Yes, I. So I am due my refresher as well because I felt that because it felt like an unfolding, but like something the unfolding left you going, whoa, hold on, where this fit into the who this again? Hold
Mm-hmm.
on, there is who. So you find you doubling back. So that also kind of makes sense that it is the layering and the revealing in the reverse.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But whoa. But he takes up so my one of the things that I was left thinking is I'm not sure if this thing I said this is a brutally written novel.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
it
That's
brutal,
a way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a way to put it, babe.
hard. It
It's not
and you
delicate
feel
at
like
all. Mm-mm.
no, and you feel
No.
like ooh.
But
But
you
then
know,
I don't think that's Marlon. Marlon's style is not delicate
yeah. But
either.
also,
I
to
think he's
be honest, guys. To be honest, let's be honest. We all most of us grew up in Jamaica. Jamaica not delicate. It is not delicate.
no,
Like
no, 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 no.
when I remember people, I remember the neighbor's mother, my neighbor's mother died, and somebody came and visit, and the first thing she said, "Well, she is dead." And I'm like,
Yeah, and I get that Mike, and I understand that. So you're definitely, but for me, it's in terms of the writer as a writer, because
mhm.
I think it's hard to write like this, and this book is written like this, so that you, the reader or listener, feel like you
Yeah,
feel yourself pulling back or recoiling. And I thought, what an interesting. So I'm also curious how he kept himself in that vein, and it also made me think, as Shauna said in that Marlon. I haven't read or tackled Brief Issue of Seven Killings yet, but I think I showed you that I've heard colleagues say they had a hard time reading it. Some people say that the
Mm.
start,
I
and
would
let
be
me tell you,
shocked.
all in mash up Calabash with Night Women,
No, well, Night Woman I have read, and
and
that is not an easy read
oh,
either.
and
It's
the
different
Calabash
from this.
artist. Yes, the Calabash artist is very. And Kwame warned. He did a warning, but when Master, I think people were squirming. People were saying,
Mm.
"Oh my God!" So it's interesting. So, and I guess when we get to more, we can ask:
mhm.
is this a stylistic thing of his? But I was struck by how the writing was. It felt like it was aggressively written,
Well,
but it
um,
fits in with the story.
yes, and
Yeah.
also I like it when art elicits a response, whether it's physical or emotional, and this has both. I mean, you physically
Mm.
go, oh, but
Hmm.
I love it when that happens, and it might not be. a pleasant reaction. It might, it might be, kind of, oh my God.
And
Yeah,
again,
I mean,
what?
I love that about the book as well. I think the dichotomy that exists in Jamaican culture is captured in this book, because Jamaicans, whether they're in Jamaica, out of Jamaica, rough and
Yes.
sweet. You know what I mean? Rough
Mm,
and sweet. You know what I mean? It's like the idea that we can have this book that we're reading in the same moment that, the Marley movie has come out that has a very sort of fairy tale aspect to this life that touch people in
mm,
these very soft and generous ways.
mm,
But we also know that Jamaican culture, even though this is not a true story, but you can hear the echoes of what the things that we know to be true. You know
It's
what I
like
mean?
coconut
And
drops.
listen, it's
It's like coconut drop. It's tough, it's rough, but it's sweet and sugary.
yeah.
yeah. It's and at points I was, you're just shocked out of yourself. You're like, wait, let me put this book down. Let me put it down for a couple hours, maybe a day, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what Marlon just did to me right now in this book. I'm still processing some things. Like, wait,
Hmm.
did he?
Mm-hmm.
Did that happen in that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
chapter 1 to 5. 1 to 5 is, I mean, that's really, but he's introduced us to quite a few people in between chapter 1 and chapter 5, and quite a few characters. Like, I mean, in that sense of the word, like unique, very unique people.
yeah.
Um, and you're getting a lot of people business too from the beginning. So it make you wonder what's going to be revealed after. But I guess it's really the story that's going to be revealed of the end, which was the beginning.
And then also the other thing that's interesting is that, and I'm curious again about the deliberate intention of this. It does not feel like 1957
No.
What does it feel
at
like?
all. It feels more contemporary. It feels more like 70s, 80s. It don't feel like it's 1950.
Really?
And maybe it's the way he's written it.
Mm.
So I have to keep reminding myself it don't feel like that. And maybe because we also have an idealized of that, for those far gone halcyon days, that this DP in the scene and all these things was going on in 1957. But I find myself having to remind myself that it's set in 1957.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny that you say that, Fabian. I had a complete opposite
Really
response. I
interesting.
felt that he had dropped me into some period that was during or just after slavery, that it was in some old, an American context, would have been some Salem witch trial, little village.
Mm,
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it has that energy to it where it's just like, this is some old history that people are
right.
working out. Like, it didn't. Yeah, I did.
That's
So I was
interesting.
surprised. I was surprised when I saw it because he makes very little references to whatever the particular time period is,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and in those moments when I saw it, it's kind of I was like, wait, what?
When did the stuff with Bedward happen in Jamaica, though, Fabian? Do you know?
Oh, that's a good question. And it might have been around then.
What
Let me
happened?
check. Bedward.
Bedward.
Alexander Bedward.
What that?
So we'll tell the story in a second. I'm going to look it up.
Okay,
Um,
cool. So
so
Alexander
let's see,
was
early life. He died in 1930. So it
so
wasn't
yes, it was
around that
earlier.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
Alex Bedward was
go
a
ahead. Go
preacher,
ahead.
a black man,
Hmm.
who was a preacher, but was also very revolutionary because he was preaching freedom and power to disenfranchised black people. And
Okay.
sadly, in the midst of all that, what a lot of that has gotten lost because he said he was going to fly. And this was in August town.
Hmm.
He climbed into a tree where it flew, and it didn't happen. So sadly,
Hmm.
and then interestingly, as I learned more about him, it turned out that apparently the powers that be were pushing this madman narrative to tone down the revolutionary message. And so that became the thing. So what most people will tell you is the madman Hussein going fly. They don't know this other thing of this remarkable thing that this black man in Augustown at that time had this following. And in addition to preaching, was talking about empowerment and literacy and all these other things in this time when it shouldn't. And then, but the legend has become Madman Bedwood Hussein was going to fly. I think there's been a few documentaries on him. Prof. Oh my God, lovely man. He's now the head of ICS at UA. Dave Goss wrote a book on him, and Clinton Hutton has done a lot of extensive research on him. So there's stuff about him. I feel it's high time a movie make about him.
Yeah.
There are so many people who deserve a movie.
So I think he was Baptist, but then he became a leader of a revival sect called
Yes.
And so the white and mixed race Jamaicans worried about the African influences in these Baptist interpretations of Christianity. So, problems.
And so, and I thought of him with reading this. He definitely came to mind.
That's what made me think of. So that's why I asked what time. What time? Because I think there's this supernatural quality of clearly to the apostle and and all these other things. Because this apostle just walked into the man church, the Rum Preacher church,
and put him out.
Kick him out, and some people must have been relieved, and some people scared. Them the business because they just fell right in line with this apostle, and the apostle started heal people. Heal the people who used to follow the Rum Preacher too, the five.
But
and then don't till late into the novel, you still don't know how he got there. I mean, obviously you eventually find out, but it's not till way deep in. You find out how him even get there, because that's still unresolved till way deep into chapter 20 something. You still don't know. It's become the norm. Apostles there, but you don't know from whence this came from, because Mr. Garvey just is silent.
Mr. Garvey, who is the owner of the owner? If a town can have an owner,
the town,
town have an owner, and he's my favorite word. I keep saying. I mean, hopefully nobody gets offended. He's the sodomite.
But
I don't know why.
Actually, I think their pieces. Look at Antonia's face. But okay, Antonia, wait.
I'm a little offended.
I figured you would be, and it's an offensive word, but it's branded so often.
But Michael, Marlon uses it quite a bit in the book.
Quite a bit. It's all over.
And interesting, that is one of the things for me that reminded me that is not contemporary. His choice of that word helped root it in an older time.
But then, okay, how long has that been used? I know the word is old, but how long has it been used for that particular meaning in the Jamaican vocabulary? This is something people were saying in the 50s.
People are reading Bible.
Some people became
No, man, I know that the word, but that's what I'm saying in terms of to use it like that. I didn't know, but I was saying because if
you hear somebody use it like that in Jamaica now, they're either older or go with them granny or old people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of the young kids are using it like, what is that?
No, my age, contemporary, and that would only mean the female, because that term is not used for mine. Really? So, and I'm 8 man, so I guess I'm aging myself.
It was
but
man.
For all our audience and our members who are you are in the mid 40s and below. So if you are a child of 90s dance hall, 90s 2000 dance hall, that term was referred to females only, because the other one more popular term. No, we know the double D is for them. So if you're calling it that one, it's really that. But just, I mean, understanding of Sodom and Gomorrah, absolutely, that is an ancient. But just at that time to be calling anybody you might encapsulate that way,
Yeah.
No.
And then what's
And the kids,
interesting
as you were saying,
is
Fabian, the
would
kids
not
nowadays absolutely don't.
they laugh. It's like when Eastern Caribbean people hear all bad words, they laugh.
Yes, yes, yes.
What are you on talking? What kids they're abroad watching foreign TV and the Jamaican band them just a Lego because
I want to read a half paragraph. May I?
Okay,
sorry,
go
I
ahead.
just wanted to say what I found
from
interesting
which
is the way the voice in the book pointedly references Garvey as that more than once.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read that part.
what chapter are you reading from, Michael?
This is I don't the book don't have numbers. The Preacher and the Apostle.
Yes.
Yes. So
That might be 2.
maybe 2. Yeah.
It
3, 2,
is
3.
chapter 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there was no spectacle like the Garvey procession. Marching in slow step like pallbearers without a coffin, Mr. Garvey with his nephews in one line behind him would take the left row at the front of the church. He would sit near the window, not bothering to take off his maroon hat with pink trim even in church, and his nephews would fill out the row in descending order of height. Some would gossip that they sat in descending order of color, with the lightest child beside Mr. Garvey and the darkest by the aisle, so that he could be closest to black people. Before the service was over, he would rise, run his thin fingers over his black pinstripe suit, and his nephews would rise as well. In a line, they would leave, the youngest nephew in front and Mr. Garvey in the back, who would toss some money at the altar and march through the door, his coattails flapping in the breeze. But this Ash Wednesday, as church was about to start, there was no sign of Mr. Garvey. Many were curious, but most were like Lucinda, who dismissed such things. Naturally, a man who was so rich that he made black white would sooner or later stop coming to black people church, especially a sodomite who was on his way to hell. Country people took his absence as they took everything else. Yes. Love that little section there.
The book generally is very visual.
Yes.
He paints
Very.
yeah. Because even the beating like a mangy dog of the rum preacher was so visual. It's like you see this man walking. Yeah, and that's something that for me it stands out in the book as well. The pictures he paints and these pictures really vividly and pulls you
And also
into it.
And you know that Marlon loves music. It's also very musical. The way he's phrased some of these things, and that's what irks me about the woman who is reading on the audiobook. Because I tell you, I've been reading as well as listening to the audiobook. The woman in the audiobook has no concept of.
Oh my gosh!
But when you say Baba, she goes
Baba.
Baba.
It is
Ratid.
Agoni.
I mean, the musical what is written is completely lost on her.
Yeah. And I'd love to even, talk, and I think it was Roland who mentioned this to us, that the way the thing's set up now,
they don't have no choice.
Writers don't have a say. He, as you said, he locked out with the guy sketcher, but they don't.
Yeah.
Them hear it when it done. They don't, and I find that interesting. Like, wow, really? But for something as, for me, importantly specific as a Jamaican accent,
and anybody's accent,
a Jamaican book.
Yes,
they thought this lady was doing a good job.
I mean, but what I don't understand is, even when you think about whether it is that particular streaming service or any other streaming service, if you're taking yourself to be the voice of literally bringing books alive through speech and dramatic reading and so on, I would assume you want to be something that is, you want to be a company that is writer-centric. And for them to not have any type of say in the process is crazy to me, because you're looking at these people's work, you're trying to put voice to their work, and then they have no say in it. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So
and
that's an interesting thing.
As Roland said, you can look out like him with the guy who is a sketcher, or you can end up the lady doing John Crow. And I'm thinking, but even that, in terms of authenticity,
right?
As you're saying, Shauna, wouldn't they also be committed to getting the most authentic reading of the writer's work? even if they don't have a say in it. So it boggles the mind.
Yeah.
If you're watching from one of these where we're streaming to, say hi, and you can,
Yes.
be part of the. I think it's one person watching so far, but it's fine. you can be a part of the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Please
no.
do. Please do.
I really love that, within these first chapters, you pretty much meet the entire village that you're going to be
Yes.
journeying with
Mm-hmm.
throughout the rest of the novel. And we started talking about the rum preacher until when I'm put out of the place. But the thing that I found really interesting was that I was curious about, like, what are people going to do? But I didn't have any sympathy for the rum preacher because he had already painted this whole picture of just how useless he was. Right? You're like, how is it, you're like left like, how is it possible that you could even be running a congregation from the beginning? Like, something was extraordinarily wrong, So it's almost kind of like I was like low-key cheering, like, oh my God, finally, now. And this person, when the apostle comes in, it seems like, okay, he's an anointed man of God. He's gonna provide some leadership, some
Or
teaching,
something.
Or
or
something.
something,
Yeah.
or something. But you think that it might be better than what they just had.
Apostle made me nervous. Anyway, go
Thank
Sean.
you. That's I was about to say. I think that was my thing. Is so whereas you're looking at Ron Preacher kind of side eye, and you're going, okay, it's, the first couple of chapters of the book, and as you said, Antonio, useless man, and I'm like, what
Useless.
is this? But
Yeah.
then, and I think, but I think Marlon did do a good job. Well, for me, because the immediate entrance of Apostle struck a very nervous chord in me.
Mm.
I was not like, okay, yeah. It was very like, no, but me not think this better. So for me, the entrance and how he painted him and the walking in,
Yes.
or maybe it's the Jamaican in me and knowing all of our stories and our rich history of
Mm.
having communities landlocked in religious dictatorship that
Yeah.
played in my mind as soon as the entrance of the
Mm.
apostle. I was, I was not on the side of apostle. And so now my sentiment reaching a little bit further, I am, if I'm gonna say, on the side of the wrong preacher, but I'm going in for the wrong preacher because I dislike the apostle so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the place I reached. It wasn't. I wasn't there immediately, but when
Okay.
you begin to see who this man is, you're like, but also like, I don't want to give anything away, but just
Right.
as the rum preacher evolves,
Yes.
right? You go, oh, and I
Hmm.
think it brings up that thing about, it was, I was like in my 30s when I finally walked into a church and there was a minister that was not hellfire and brimstone, that
Mm.
wasn't just about prosperity, um, uh, prosperity, so sermons,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but somebody who was like, the kingdom of God lives within you.
Mm-hmm.
It was like about empowering the whole person.
Right.
That you're
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, this is really possible,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And so, you could see, I felt that, like, with the rum preacher, as he began to evolve, they're like, oh, will he become that guy? Will he
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
use who he's been all his life in the
Mm-hmm.
world to then inspire, to support, to grow people in a
Right.
real kind of way, as opposed to this
Yeah.
isolationism that happens when, religion is ultra strict and conservative, and
Mm-hmm.
a tool for indoctrination. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fascinating journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to also see that process in the women,
Hmm.
right? Like, you have the widow who was just like, I'm not dealing with any of this nonsense. Like, I'm gonna be a whole woman in my body and in the world. I'm living my life, and whatever you all think, damn you, I'm living
Mm-hmm.
my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing I will say, and actually I think it's reminiscent of the two books we read last season as well. The women characters for me, I'm not just saying because of the women, but they continue to be, to me, the most interesting characters in the room, in the books. all the
Yeah.
time. And we've had two of the three of male authors, right? But I think in all of them, the women have been the most. I mean, let's not get into the love affair that is Sketchers, but and the mummy. But the truth about it, the women, especially in this book, whether you're moving from the widow or
Mm.
Lucinda or all
Oh
of that,
God.
and I just think, and as the story develops and you're getting the past information of these women, you're like, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. I do think the women characters have far more depth, are giving me so much more than I think. I mean, to be fair now, lots of stuff are going on when you find out the past of all the characters and it
Mm.
unfolds. But the
Mm.
women characters are giving me life, guys. I can't go around that.
Yeah. They
Lucinda, I
drive the
like.
story.
Lucinda is a likable villain to me. I don't know. Antonio goes, say what now?
Well, I don't know her as a villain yet. I mean, that's chapter 5, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing, and maybe she and Antonio is probably the one who has you
Uh,
finished the book, right?
yeah, I'm gonna finish the book, but she even early on, she's like that kid at the back of the class who always telling on somebody about something because them want some extra pencils. You know, it's like you're like, shut up. Like, and then the teacher's gonna punish the entire class, right?
Ha!
So like, I, and proud of it, and sitting there like, "Yep, I did it.
Mm,
Yes, and I
and
will do
did.
it again every time." Like, oh God,
Oh my god. I like her. I mean, I don't know. Antonio would be the one who would say if it is that she really. I'm actually hoping. I'm about chapter 20 something, and I'm hoping that she does turn out to not be completely a villain or to throw down wrath on the right people. Who I. Right, keep it close, Antonio. In yeah, but I do agree with Antonio. I think in the early chapters, which is what we're discussing now,
yeah,
yeah, you don't quite see the beauty in her. By the time you reach, well, for me, I was just like, uh-huh, okay, I get it. I get her,
yo,
and I get her because we get introduced to her dark side. And I don't know if by chapter 5 do we get introduced to her dark side?
No,
Love
I don't think so.
love her dark side, by the way, which is why I find her interesting.
I, I had a bit of a problem. I had a bit of a problem. No, not just with her, but just sort of this idea of having conversation around indigenous spiritual practices and plant
Hmm.
medicine and um, how it's often just demonized,
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so that was a little, yeah. I have some questions. I have some questions.
Well, I
Mm.
mean, that's very on brand for Jamaica and on
I
brand
know.
for Jamaica at
Well,
the time.
it, but it's always riding a thin line, right?
Mm.
So somebody can go get bush tea and heal you. Nobody know what kind of prayers are happening. Is they're pulling that thing off a tree or off a fence, or you know what I mean? Like, but because it's,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm always reminded how Jamaicans eat ackee, and growing up, my Haitian friends would be like, "You eat that?"
Yeah,
And they're
man.
like, "That's
What?
poison." Right?
Yes.
And I think that really characterizes
Yes.
Jamaica a lot, right? Like
Yeah.
this thing, we like it's a national
Yeah.
food. It's
I
delicious.
experienced that when working with Red Cross. They think we have extra power and protection because
Who? The Nigerians? The
Haitians,
Haitians.
Haitians,
because we eat
yeah.
ackee, and not only do we eat it, it's our national dish.
No
It's a
dish.
national fruit.
But then let's up that one more time because then what we are scared of, Ghanaians eat ackee raw.
What?
But we
Yeah.
eat ackee raw too. Like
Yeah,
And
man.
we do.
I had it raw.
Yeah.
I've had it raw as well.
Yeah.
I've had it raw as well. I mean,
But
because
it,
it's really you peel out the heart or the thing that's in
Yeah, the
yeah,
right.
poison,
Drain. That's actually the toxin drains down into the
the
sea.
arsenic,
So if
arsenic
it,
in the
if
yeah,
it
Yeah.
doesn't drain out,
yeah.
that poisons you. So
Yeah.
What's that?
my mother's father, my maternal grandfather, Adonijah folks,
Mm-hmm.
did not eat ackee. So his theory was any food or fruit that can poison you at any time of its existence should not be eaten.
I mean, makes
So
sense.
he would uproot ackee. Anything,
Wow.
yeah, not,
Wow.
Wow.
yeah, man. Grandpa was serious. If you say root them up,
That's crazy.
yeah, not eating it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I think there's a way because I think I was like I might have been watching a documentary or something, and they were going and so like on the street side or whatever when they prep ackee, it's kind of however they prep it at, in my head I'm thinking ceviche, right? So raw but not raw, cooked with
Mm.
lime or enzymes or
Lime, yeah.
something,
Mm.
right? Um, so it's prepared raw like that. I have had raw ackee here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and I know
so
people who eat raw, like people who eat raw foods. It's not ceviche; it's raw.
raw.
And
Yeah.
ackee is one of the staple. They eat ackee
But
raw.
then when I have raw pizza down here from the raw places down
Yeah,
here,
with
Yeah,
the ackee, that's where
I
I had it.
always wonder:
Yeah.
is it raw on the pizza, Mike,
It's
or is
raw.
No, I
it
think he
like
Yeah.
marinates it in something.
right. But
ceviche style?
people
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
do raw
Yeah.
food, they not sprinkle things body for pretty.
But he
Most
was a raw foods person, so it
Mm.
was a raw
yeah,
food.
Yeah.
And I
maybe
think
because he's
because it had
because he's
had a different flavor to it. There's something
yeah,
else.
because he's giving it to other people. People who like do raw food as a part of the when they might eat at their yard.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them don't. Yeah. So I know
Another thing
they,
that goes in.
they might sometimes do sauces and things, but them a lot of it they might eat it raw,
Yeah.
uncooked,
Interesting.
and the whole thing that we're boiling out the nutrients and all these things.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
Mm.
that's the interesting thing, as Antonio said, which is very very real. I think in Jamaica, but also the region, it is the way the African stuff is demonized
Mm-hmm.
because it came over with our ancestors who were and added flavor and shifted, changed the culture. But how it was passed on to us is that this African stuff, the drumming stuff, the
Mm-hmm.
coming stuff, the demon possession, all the voodoo, wicked, of the devil, not white and pure, and so and that's been passed on. So people, even younger people, have a knee-jerk reaction to anything that's too black in our culture, including obia, including anything like animal
Mm.
sacrifice, because like etu and them thing there, them a kill the animal and eat the meat, and those is Jamaicans. So it is, and I like the fact that Marlon kind of lays that bare in this book, but it also puts it in the way that characters are portrayed
Yeah.
in their natural elements. It's still not necessarily positive, or is it our reaction to it?
Well, it's
Uh,
the underbelly, and it's something that
yeah,
must always be hidden.
yeah,
And it's also a true picture because I mean there yes there might be some things that you celebrate, but there's also some things that are just not right,
Yeah.
and both can
Mm.
exist in the same community or the same person,
Mm.
So
Mm.
I mean sometimes when we try to correct a wrong, we overcorrect by trying to make it
Mm.
seem like everything it's everything is good, blah blah blah, but
Yeah.
it isn't
and then
really.
also wrong for who? So that's the other
Right.
thing. Who's led
Mm.
this
Mhm.
wrongness being perceived,
Right.
and what becomes the pervading story. As
Mm.
you're mentioning hustle, so for my curiosity immediately was, so now that you put out the wrong preacher, what you bring?
Mm-hmm.
That was I immediately was like, okay, so what are you going to be doing or bringing to this space? And I'm
Healing.
curious to see, are you going to be different from the person you dethroned?
He
Um,
brought healing, and he brought the Kool-Aid mix,
You brought the fire and the
Wow.
which is
brimstone. You brought
also
the
which is also in a way sometimes maligned. Um,
yes.
you know,
what?
But as Marlon, as
England.
he was introduced with all of that and the red and the black books, which
The
stayed
red
with
and the
me,
black
the red
book.
and the black book.
What?
Yeah.
And so that's what Marlon wrote. So you had all of the Bible texts
Mhm.
and then the red and the black books, which
So
had no covers.
I say it all the time.
The Apocrypha?
That song by Toots. 6 and the 7 books.
Yes.
Yeah, so the 6 and the 7 books, there's no 6 and 7 books of Moses. There's 5 books. The
Okay.
6 and the 7 books are 2 books of witchcraft that are called the 6 and the 7 books of Moses. So,
Look at
so
that.
that's what he's talking
And it
about.
says,
Wow.
Yes.
Deuteronomy.
So the book there, I think they're called the Lesser Key of Solomon or something like that.
Yes.
So
But then
yes,
we do find out because I guess well, Antonio doesn't want to spoil it
I've
for
said
us.
it
But then,
before. I've said that. Oh, you found out what? Tell me.
no, I was saying Antonio's the one who has finished and he doesn't want to spoil. But the apostle is into witchcraft as well.
But that's what I'm suspecting from the
That's
first.
what I feel.
Yeah.
Antonio's like,
There's like, I'm a child drama.
And I've read the book before, a long time. But I'm reading it again.
So there's like, I will not be drawn out.
I won't be the weakling.
No, I mean, first of all, sometime when he healed the 5 in the church, and then when the rum preacher goes to the bar and because he missed the rum after the widow pick him up from the riverside, and say, "Okay, I missed. I'm going to the bar," and then he goes through this experience and he's experiencing all those things that were healed from the 5 people. I don't. You realize
oh,
that?
you see, you're very perceptive, Michael. I didn't realize.
I didn't realize that
you.
either.
Different little
Big
things
up
that
you,
he was
Michael.
experiencing were what the 5 people were healed from. The 5.
See there?
That's why you must be brilliant.
I'm gonna have to go back and read chapter 5 again. No, man, but he said he read the book before. He's reading the Audible and he's rereading the book right now.
I read the book. I read the book 20 years ago.
Yeah, but it's
Is that
I
how
don't,
old
I don't remember the name of the author. Kidding.
trauma is trauma. It come back up.
But it was because remember when they went up one by one, there's certain ailments that were healed.
That's right.
And when he went to the bar, those are the things like it's something with his eye, you know.
As Antonio takes up the book.
I need fact check. Okay. What chapter is in?
Hey, that's funny, yeah.
Let me see.
Which shows it that when he said, let's go to the videotape. Which shows it.
Oh my
Is that
god.
Wilderness? When did he go to the bar?
Oh,
No, he went to the bar. The chapter
It was before.
wasn't it?
It was before. Let me find it.
Revival.
Revival. Okay.
I really love that they are so committed to that. They're doing this with this thing. I'm telling you, audience. I'm telling you right now. I am traumatized in this book. I'm absolutely traumatized.
Yeah.
I'm remembering key moments. That's it.
It's interesting. There's a line from, I think it might have been the blurb from Akashic Books that says, with gruesome and sometimes gratuitous descriptions of sex and gore, this isn't a tale for the faint of heart.
Absolutely
but those
not.
eager for fire and brimstone lyricism will find this an exciting read.
Antonio,
Yeah,
page 52, Antonio. It's that big paragraph in the middle of page 52.
Wow, they found the page.
Where it says, leave the
Love
bottle.
this page.
Yeah, they're very good.
Oh, for the couple will they was saying if you don't listen.
So you can tell who are the audible.
You want to read it? You want to read it? You want
members.
me to read it? Read it aloud enough, might as well.
Okay, all right, I'll read. No,
Okay.
Hold on.
Oh.
Wait, no, I can read it aloud, but I just have
Okay,
to
all
make
right,
sure
good.
make sure there's no patois in here, so you know.
So you're gonna sound like her. We're just
Exactly.
gonna call
Baba,
you her.
Baba.
Huh?
Won't do it. Let the rum preacher let the rum preacher testify to this. He was far more comfortable at the bar than at the altar. As the head of the church, he could never escape the collective weight of judgment. But that cup had passed, and sliding toward him was another, wet, golden, and tinkling with ice. What lay beyond shame? Freedom. He was 7 sips away from not giving a damn, 15 from not remembering who he was, and 20 from pissing on himself. Take it easy, preacher, the bartender would have said by now, but she was off enjoying company more divine than his. With her absent, there was no one to talk to but himself. He was drunk. This was usually a state of perfect peace, but something had gone wrong. Usually whiskey could erase a sentence midway before it was even finished. Like chalk on a blackboard, the memory was never gone, only smudged, indecipherable, and irrelevant. But at this time, memory came in waves, history he had forgotten for years. Suddenly, afflictions not his own were thrust upon him. His left eye went black. A pain ran along the course of his spine, and he
See
fell
that?
off the bar stool. He tried, in a desperate fit of wheezing, to catch his breath. A force unseen hit him in the scrotum. A battering ram, a rolling calf. The pastor doubled over, lost his balance, and fell on the floor. Whiskey and bile erupted from his stomach. His teeth chattered violently, chomping on his tongue and causing his throat to fill with blood. He threw himself into the fit, as if a spirit was trying to flee his body. Bly's eyes rolled back into his skull, and his head hammered onto the floor.
See there? See that there?
Mm.
Wow.
One by one.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I gotta go back and read. No, I'm not
Yeah.
reading this again.
Same.
It's a rough. But you know, the other thing that I also was really struck by was how the widow decided to help him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the one thing I don't know why she made this choice, why she pitied him, why she um why she made this choice to take him into her home and clean him
Mm-hmm.
up and feed him and
Mm-hmm.
try to nurse him back to health. And it was really beautiful to kind of see that moment when he enters her home and the banter that they have and
Mm-hmm.
this choice that she just continues to make, not day by day, but just moment by moment to invest in him.
So what
It's
what what
really, really powerful.
what it felt like to me was that she missed having someone to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm,
that's why she picked him because her husband died, and that's basically what she did. That was
Mm-hmm.
mm,
something she did. She took care of her husband, and he's gone, and she missed just having. And it's not. I don't think it's particularly that she felt sorry for him or she felt any kind of love or affection for him. She just missed having someone to take care of because that's what she did. That's what she did.
Well,
but it feels like
trying
more.
well, what I was
It's
trying to
like
get
more to
to
me
was,
as well.
me too. Was there a moment, and I apologize that I can't fact check like you all, in where she was ostracized by the community as well?
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
I
Mm-hmm.
think there might have been a moment for something she was ostracized,
Yes.
and so
Yeah.
that a part of that is what fed this kind of, oh my god, I'm gonna take it
mm.
because I know nobody else is gonna take you up, and I low key don't think you're wrong,
Hmm.
or something like that, and I'm just like, what,
I feel like
what was it about?
there's also there's a matter of factness in the way she helps him.
Right.
Mm,
And
mm,
I think it's tied into that, needing to look after somebody, but there's something else. There's because you're taking him into your home, you're making space for him physically in your house, but you're also looking after him, mending him,
Yes.
Hmm.
putting him back together, literally, almost. So there is some of Anthony. I'm also drawn. There's something beautiful
Mm-hmm.
about it, and I always, I realize early on in my life, as I was drawn to things with healing, and I one of the most, there are a lot of unforgettable things in Beloved.
Mm.
mm,
See, when Setha runs away and Mama Tony does this brilliant description, I remember I felt it of her swollen, bloody feet, and she runs into the mad white girl,
mm,
massages her feet. Remember that scene where she like massages life back into her feet?
mm,
I
I
think
felt
so.
the same kind of energy I felt when I read that. I felt in some of the scenes with the widow, and
And
there's
young
a
preacher.
place, there's a thing there, and the energy of it is very different from the rest of the book.
Mm.
mm, mm,
Well,
Those
yes.
sections, there's a calmness, there's a peace, there's
mm.
a yeah, and also almost like Marlon as a writer also kind of shifts gears to
Hmm.
make we catch your breath for the other things that are coming. He said, "Have this moment here." But I feel it's yeah, it really is it's really engaging, and a kind of interesting different kind of energy in the midst of this other world of stuff that's going on. But
I
that scene,
think it's
that rum scene as well, woo, the
right.
description, that bartender lady.
Love her.
When did she say,
Loved her.
take him on? Who want a free drink? She said, "Who want it?" She was just like, and when he said, "Do you know where I'm?" She's like, Goody is not having it. She's not having it. And when he does, she's like, "What you take him out?" She no business. She said, "Just throw him out the door. Take him out of anywhere but here." Oh, who
Anywhere but
wants a
here.
free drink? Come help me.
Anywhere.
Just sharing for those who are just. This is what we're talking about. First
John
5
Crow's devil.
Jean Claude's devil.
Yeah.
Antonio, you've been
Yeah.
having a point, I think.
There were a couple of points, but I mean, one of them is just like I would, coming off of what Fabian just said, I would love to see this as a film. It's very much a sort of M. Night Shyamalan kind of
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Like I'm like, oh my god! But then to go back to, there are two warring parties that are happening, like two warring stories that are happening. There's Lucinda and the widow, and then there's the apostle and
Rum preacher.
and rum preacher. And it's really interesting because the thought that came up for me when Fabian was also talking about this place of safety and healing, right? All of them require a moment to catch their breath, to sort of to gear up. And I think it's written into sort of the structure of the story, because it can't be this all the time. Like, how does the story get a moment where the characters get opportunity to recharge, refuel for the next battle to come?
Yeah.
Because it's like battle in this, the stakes just keep rising.
Yeah.
Right. And all of the characters end up, in this sort of very public space, and even in their interior private spaces, doing their own battles. Because like for the widow in particular, it's so fascinating because she makes a decision to step outside of her isolation to help this man, right?
Yes.
Then she makes another decision that once he's in her home, to how do I protect the safety and sanctuary of this space, but provide him some place over there. I'm still dealing with these memories of this man who is gone. I have recreated my life. And there's a moment she talks about she has reclaimed her femininity, like in the bathroom. Like it's just right. So there's all these little micro struggles that are happening every step of the way, and when you start understanding the relationship between the Lucinda and the window, you're like, wait, okay.
Yeah.
This is epic. This isn't something that just happened. Like it's been
years,
been in
childhood
for a long time. You know what I mean? Your mamas were involved. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Good. So,
and that character, the preacher's character is also very biblical, right? Like this idea of like, so, if you think of how people go wandering into the wilderness in the Bible, so he has this wilderness moment, right? There's this wilderness moment where, then God then sends an angel.
An angel, correct.
Right? With a message after that moment in the wilderness that brings you back to a place where salvation is possible.
Right.
I mean, thematically, I find it so rich,
Well, I'm thankful for. Go ahead, Fabian. Go ahead.
And also, when we touched on it before, and I'm glad some of the books we've chosen, it's that thing of the unearthing, unpacking of our mythology and our magic and our potion that we see. People make other movies become big bestsellers, but we, all of it's still hidden. And then an interesting way Marlon has done it, he's put that screen. And so let me talk about this. Let's play with this, and I love that as well because I keep thinking, even with the Chamba and Chaka Chaka reading of the lady, I'm in a Jamaican novel. I'm in a Jamaican story, and I love that. I love being immersed in this thing that is me, that's in my blood, that's in my heart, that's in my ancestors. It's such a wonderful feeling to be wrapped in that in this book. Because a lot of times we don't get it a lot, or we don't get that gaze, we don't get that lens.
Right.
And I love the Jamaican-ness of this story. Even with all these disturbing pieces, it's like, yes, my people is flaws, warts, and alls, yes. And that excites me. I'm really, really pleased about it.
So funny you said that because I don't know if I told you that I saw Bob Marley last week.
I saw it last night.
Yes, and so it brought the same thing for me because some of these streets were just so familiar. But also, I don't know if you knew that I was in that Stephen and I were in the same class at Vaz. So when you drove up with the kids and they were in this uniform, I was like, familiar, that's Vaz. And surely
Mm.
enough, that was a Vaz prep uniform and it was Stephen and Ziggy, so it
Ah,
just everything just felt just, oh wow, yeah, this is really nice. This
yeah.
is really well done.
No, for me, it was the same thing. And I mean, well, thankful for the conversation because there are some times when I'm listening to the book and I'm going, this is too much for my brain right now. But then re-talking and recounting the conversations with you guys, maybe now when I go back into the book, I have the big picture appreciation of very much my people. And same for me, Mike, with One Love. Very, I think it's funny because I think me and somebody I know who is a diaspora Jamaican kind of got into a little tete-a-tete over the movie because they think it was rubbish. I thought it was beautiful. But then I realized that maybe I thought it was beautiful for that same thing. You felt immersed and
Yeah.
dropped into your culture.
Mhm.
And everything about it is kind of just like, yeah, I see this. I absolutely know it. And I think, I mean, there are many things about that, about even the movie itself and some stuff about the book. And if you are familiar with the space and with the energy versus probably being so entrenched into it, there might be ways in which there's some of the things that you'd be like, no, I don't love this, or this is crazy, or whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
And so the beauty in the mess,
Mm-hmm.
the beauty in the mess and the beauty in all of it, that's
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah, I can absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely feel that. And I mean, big ups to Marlon.
Yeah.
If you can get a reaction from your audience, I think you were saying that, Mike, earlier, whether it is the love or the disgust or the whatever, that means your writing is doing something, because
Yeah.
surely it must elicit a
It's
response.
jumping off the page.
Yeah,
It's a
man,
jump off the page, and it might be not hugging or thumping. It jumping, and
it's
it's
surely doing something.
interesting that it make having got the correction, because
Hmm.
before, somewhere in the mix, the Chinese telephone, the story had been that it was brief history of 7 killings that had been rejected 70 times. It's this, and that makes perfect sense to me now. I can see publishers going, "What in God's
What?
name is this?"
Absolutely.
It makes sense. But
Yeah.
also the tenacity that he kept submitting it 70 times.
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
one time he said the tear up the manuscript, because I can see publishers going,
Yeah.
I can totally see it. But his tenacity to keep submitting it, and because something on the inside of you knew this story needed to be told, and people
Yeah.
hear it, and I'm like, well, this totally makes the 70 story. It makes sense. I'm glad I booked him on that New York Times. I actually messaged Marlon and said, "Well, I'm there. This New York Times lady say is John Code," and him say, "Yeah, it's this one," and him say, "Him don't know where it happened, but somewhere along the way." Maybe it's when maybe people thought it was sexy when the man book of a brief history of 7 killings happened. It
Right.
got put on that, but it makes sense. But I'm glad that he persevered and pushed through. Because it is, everything can be pretty.
Yeah.
Everything cannot be pretty.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
That is true.
Well, I think we're coming on to the last little bit of this. Still encouraging people
Join us.
to join the club. Let me play that little something quick,
Yes.
just to show them how it's are done.
Yeah.
Let's see how easy it is for you to access our Linktree list of links and become a member of Rockaz Book Club. So you can put in the address, or you can go and click on the link in our social media, but it's linktr.ee, Linktree, /Reggae Online. And here we have our Linktree page. And we have our various social media links that you can go to there as well. And then links to workshops, upcoming videos and lives, new episodes of the podcast and the interview series Lounge Lime, as well as Rockaz live streams and new courses, affiliate links. And here we have Rockaz Book Club. And there's the Rockaz Book Club reading list where you can buy the book on Amazon. And then there's also the link for joining Rockaz Book Club. You click the link and it takes you to our circle page, which is our community page. And you can, if you're already a member, then you can head on in. Otherwise, you can sign up and you become a member automatically. Simple as that.
Awesome.
Hey.
So, boy, I'm tired to make video.
Not true.
Video to make.
I think you've made enough now that you can just post.
Well, yes, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get little clips from this and then post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never ends.
Can I do a quick little rant before we close?
Sure.
Oh wow.
All right.
Jamaican bookstores in Jamaica.
Oh God.
I just want to say, generally, Jamaican writers generally book in your store, but one of our top tier writers right now in the world, how is it that I go to 7 bookstores in Jamaica and cannot get, and most of them don't have any Jamaican writers books? That is crazy. If we want to encourage our generation to read and expose people, what?
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense to me. Okay, rant is over.
I second that rant.
Co-sign.
And what at this point, big up, and yes, people who don't know, Book of Feeler is still open.
Yeah.
Struggling a bit, them working on refurb and fixing them, but that's the only place that does not have textbooks. And the problem with the special order, but it would have taken too long to me for this. But I'm gonna have to do that for all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of them not gonna find Nala Hopkinson book here. I know she's Jamaican as well. So I'm gonna clearly have to pre-order special order things because there's nothing like a physical book. And I like the doubling up of the audio and the thing. But I just assume, man, I'm not going to have a problem finding Marlon's book in Jamaica. Not so.
Not so.
Very boo bookstores.
Very boo.
Very boo.
Very boo. All right, well, I think we can call it a night. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Did I show off this?
Yay!
Hey, what's that?
They're coming.
Paraphernalia.
The merch is coming.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of us will have them bossy.
Yes.
Like it.
All right, so until next time, and you'll be seeing little clips of this coming up.
Yes.
Enough love.
And stuff.
Right,
Everybody be good, be safe, take care of yourself.
Yes.
5 to 10
take
coming
care.
next 2 weeks time.
2 weeks time. Chapter is what?
That'll be 6 to
10 or something like that.
6 to 10.
I think, or 6 to 11, 6 to something.
6 to 11.
Yeah,
Whatever.
information shall be posted online.
Yes. Oh, let me put those up too. Yes, go there, so go there, so, and these things. If you go to Instagram, you'll find the post with all the chapter and when the chapters and when we're gonna do them, all the themes, all that's there. It's on TikTok as well.
Okay.
It's on Twitter as well. Yeah, because
Awesome.
I'm a post maniac.
Mike, go on with himself,
I post everywhere.
Everywhere.
So blessings. All right.
Blessings.
Bye, guys.
All right.
It's
Take care. Bye.